الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تلهكم أموالكم ولا أولادكم عن ذكر الله ومن يفعل ذلك فأولئك هم الخاسرون صدق الله مولانا العظيم وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الفرق بين المسلم والكافر ترك الصلاة صدق الرسول النبي الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما فواظب منك الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا نور الله. All praise, glory belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal. Endless peace and blessings upon the best of creation, our Master and Angel, Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, upon his noble companions, pure wives and the Ahlul Bayt. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, may He raise the ranks of all the Shuhada, all the Awliya and Ulama of this Ummah, and may He Azza wa Jal bless us with the tawfiq to remember Him and remember His Habib alayhi salatu wa salam. The noble verse from Quran Kareem, which I recited from the Surah Munafiqun, the 9th verse, wherein Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala states, O believers, do not let your wealth nor your children distract you from the remembrance of Allah. And then He goes on to say that one who does so, one who allows his children or his wealth or any other distraction to take him away from the dhikr of Allah, then he is from amongst the losers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ने इरशाद फरमाया कि ए ईमान वालों, अपनी औलाद की वजह से, अपने माल की वजह से अल्लाह के जिक्र से गाफिल मत होना. और जो ऐसा शख्स होता है जो इन मशगूलात की वजह से, दुनियादारी की वजह से, औलाद की वजह से, माल की वजह से अल्लाह के जिक्र से गाफिल होता है, तो वो शख्स बेशक खसारे में है, हार में है, नुकसान में है. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before I go to another verse, there are commentators on this verse, most notably Imam Zahabi rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to zikr in this verse, it refers to salah, it refers to namaz. And this is what the Mufassirin Kiram have mentioned in their commentaries of this verse. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, what supports this as well, is when He says, وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِي, और नमाज कायम करो वास्ते मेरे ज़िक्र के लिए. Prescribe the prayer is prescribed upon you, establish the prayer for my remembrance, for my dhikr. So when this verse mentions not to allow any worldly distraction from the dhikr of Allah, it refers to salah. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has also in many ahadith sharif highlighted the importance of namaz. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, most notably in the famous mashhur riwayah, when he mentions al-farqu bayna al-muslim wal-kafir tarku as-salah, कि फर्क मुसलमान और काफिर के दरमियान वो है नमाज का तर्क करना. मोमिन नमाज पढ़ता है जब नमाज का वक्त होता है, और काफिर नमाज की तर्क करता है. And it is known in other hadith sharif as well, where the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in another famous hadith sharif, he mentions that the one who safeguards his salah, the one who protects his salah, then after he passes away, that salah shall rise and it shall become a nur for him. It shall become a light for him, a proof for him, and protection for him on the day of judgment. And then he goes on to say that the one who does not protect his salah, for him there shall be no light, there shall be no proof, no evidence for him, and there shall be no protection for him on the day of judgment. And such a person shall be with Firaun, with Haman, with Qarun, and with Ubay ibn Khalaf. This riwayah is mentioned in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad, rahimahullah ta'ala. And again, Imam Zahabi, rahimahullah ta'ala, in commenting on this hadith sharif, he mentions in his Kitab al-Kaba'ir that the ulama kiram have mentioned that the one who neglects his salah due to hukumat, due to governing, then he shall be raised with Fir'aun. The one who gives up his salah due to wealth and mal daulat, he shall be raised with Haman. The one who gives up salah due to being busy in ministerial affairs, wazarat, he's a wazir, he shall be raised with Qarun, who was the wazir of Fir'aun. And then finally he goes on to state, the ulama state, that the one who neglects his salah due to tajarat, due to trade, he shall be raised with the chief of the kuffar of Makkah, one of the chief traders, Ubay ibn Khalaf. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. So again from hadith sharif, great emphasis on salah. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam has also mentioned, there are two famous riwayat I would like to bring to your knowledge. One in Sahih Bukhari, on the authority of Sayyidina Huzaifa ibn Yaman radiyallahu anhu, that he once witnessed a person praying salah, and he said to this person that if you continue praying salah in this way, you shall not pass away upon the deen, upon the way of Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Bukhari Sharif की रिवायत है, Sayyidina Huzaifa ibn Yaman radiyallahu anhu इरशाद फरमाते हैं कि एक शख्स था और वो ऐसी नमाज पढ़ता था गलत, और उन्होंने, वो सहाबी रसूल थे, उन्होंने उसको इरशाद फरमाया कि अगर तू ऐसी नमाज पढ़ेगा तो नबी अलैहिस्सलाम के तरीके पर तुम्हारी मौत नहीं होगी। अल्लाहु अकबर। और सुनन अन-निसाई शरीफ में, ये भी सहाह सित्ता की हदीस की किताब, उसमें वही शख्स से बात हुई और उससे अर्ज किया, सैयदना हुज़ैफा इब्न यमान रज़ियल्लाहु तआला अन्हु ने उससे अर्ज की कि ए शख्स, ऐसी नमाज कितने अरसे से इस तरह तू नमाज पढ़ता रहा? और उसने जवाब में कहा 40 साल। तो आप रज़ियल्लाहु तआला अन्हु ने जवाब में कहा कि तेरी 40 साल की जो नमाज है वो नमाज नहीं, वो नमाज नहीं, और तुम्हारी जो मौत होगी वो नबी अलैहिस्सलाम के दीन पर वो मौत नहीं होगी। अल्लाहु अकबर। Sayyidina Huzaifa ibn Yaman asked this person, as mentioned in Nasa'i Sharif, how long have you been praying like this? And when he replied 40 years, the Sahabi Rasul says to him, you have not been praying correctly in Salah for 40 years. And there is a danger of you not passing away upon the religion of Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his tariqah, upon his way. So there is danger of losing one's iman in not praying Salah correctly as well. So when we look at these riwayat, there is great ibrat. Again, another famous hadith sharif, when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned to his Sahaba, he said, "O my companions, do you not know the worst thief is the thief of namaz? Sabse bura chor namaz ka chor hai." तो अर्ज की, या रसूलल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, नमाज का चोर कौन होता है? तो जवाब में इरशाद फरमाया, वो जो नमाज का रुकू और नमाज का सजदा सही तरीके से अदा नहीं करता। The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them that the worst thief is the thief of salah. And when the companions asked, O Messenger of Allah, who is he, the worst thief and the thief of salah? He sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them, the one who does not perform the ruku properly and does not perform the sujood properly. Hakim al-Ummah Maulana Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan Naimi rahmatullah alayhi, in his Mir'at al-Manajir, he mentions in commentary of this hadith sharif, he says that the thief of namaz is worse than the thief in dunya, because he is violating the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whereas the thief of dunya is violating the right of others. The thief of dunya still gains a temporary benefit from stealing that wealth, albeit he is going to be punished in the hereafter. He gains a temporary benefit from stealing that wealth, but the thief of namaz does not gain any benefit at all. And then he, rahimahullah ta'ala, writes that from this there should be great ibrat for the believers, that look how bad it is even for a person who is praying namaz but praying it incorrectly, how much warning there is being given to him, then what will be the situation of that person who does not even pray namaz at all? Allahu Akbar. Hazur Hakim al-Ummat Mufti Ahmad Ya Khan रहमतुल्लाह ताला अलैह इस हदीस शरीफ के बाद जो लिखते हैं वो इरशाद फरमाते हैं कि देखो कि नमाज का चोर दुनिया के चोर से ज़्यादा बदतरीन होता है, क्योंकि वो अल्लाह सुब्हान व तआला का हक मारता है, लेकिन दुनिया का चोर वो दूसरे लोगों का। और ये भी इरशाद फरमाया कि जो नमाज का चोर है वो इसलिए ज़्यादा बुरा होता है क्योंकि वो अल्लाह का हक मारता है। और ये भी इरशाद फरमाया कि अगर ये हालत होती है उस शख्स की जो नमाज सही नहीं पढ़ता, तो उस शख्स का क्या होगा जो बिल्कुल नमाज पढ़ता ही नहीं, शुरू से पढ़ता ही नहीं। अल्लाह अकबर। इससे लोगों को इबरत होनी चाहिए कि हमें नमाज पढ़नी चाहिए। इसी तरह अल्लाह सुब्हानहु व तआला ने कुरान करीम में इरशाद फरमाया इन्नस्सलाता तन्हा अनिल फहशाइ वल मुनकर, बेशक नमाज रोकती है फाहिशा कामों से, फहशा कामों से और बुरे कामों से, मुनकर से। नमाज इन कामों से रोकती है। Indeed, salah forbids you, prevents you from indecent deeds and from evil deeds. The namaz is a protection for the believer. Again, in another riwayah, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave the mithal to his companions. He stated, "O my companions, if there was a river before your house and you were to bathe in that river every day, subhanallah, if you were to bathe in that river every day, would there remain any dirt upon yourselves, upon your person?" And they replied in the negative. And he stated, such is the state of namaz, that whenever you pray in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you pray your salah, that it leaves you cleansed of all your wrong actions. It leaves you cleansed of your wrong actions, just like the person who bathes from a river before his house. So this is the blessing of the salah, the greatest gift from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to his ummah. When he went on night of Mi'raj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala originally has prescribed 50 salah upon Ummati Muhammadi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But itna bada आसान कि नबी मूसा अलैहिस्सलाम की अर्ज़ व गुजारिश से, उनके वसीला जमीला से सरकार अलैहिस्सलाम ने बार बार अल्लाह सुब्हानहु व तआला से ये इस नमाज की तलब की कि या अल्लाह, ये मेरी उम्मत के लिए ज़्यादा बोझ होगा, या अल्लाह इसको कम करना। And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does he do? He says, इसके बदले में 5 नमाजें हैं और उनका अजर 50 का है. There are 5 daily prayers and the reward for them is of 50. Such a great blessing. And how long does namaz even take? How long does namaz take out of a daily routine? Out of 24 hours. We spend, how many hours do we spend in our daily routine doing various activities? In sleep, we probably spend 8 hours on average a human being spends in sleep. And Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned in Ihya Ulumuddin, hence a third of life is lost in sleep. Allahu Akbar. A third of our life. A person lives for 60 years, 20 years, a third of it, 8 hours a night he sleeps. A third of his life, 20 years of not in sleep. Do we even ponder over this? Namaz, how long does it take? It only takes a few minutes, several minutes of your time. Of your time just to give for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a daily routine. And it is at least this small of a duty upon us, but nowadays it is seen as a burden. It is seen as a burden. Brother, I will pray salah. I will pray salah when I go to Hajj, when I perform Umrah, when I grow old and my beard, my hairs are white, then I'll pray salah. I just want to chill out for a bit now. This is the mentality of youngsters. This is the mentality of our youth. But why this mentality, the youth have this, is because the youth look towards the elders. And the youth look towards their home, their parents. What is the mahul ma'ashara in the house? There is a TV. There are various TV channels on. There is music. There is singing and dancing. There is sport. There is all the worldly things going on in the house, distractions. There is no Islamic environment in the homes. How are children supposed to pray salah from a young age? Whatever you teach that child from a young age whether you teach him the name of pop stars, whether you teach him the name of his favorite football team, whether you teach him cartoon characters, Batman, Spider-Man, right? Now I see some smiling faces, but this is the reality. If you ask them, they'll tell you about The Simpsons, they'll tell you about Tom and Jerry in my time, and now I don't know which latest cartoon or which latest form of entertainment these people have thrown at us. But this is all fitna. This is all a distraction. But what do the believers do? When faced with destruction, we turn to Allah and we turn to the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if our children are not given this tarbiyah from a very young age, and not given this teaching from a very young age by the parents, then how can we leave them outside in this jungle of tribulation and destruction and destruction? The first and foremost duty is upon us ourselves. O elders and O youngsters, the first and foremost duty is upon us ourselves. लोग कहते हैं कि मेरी परेशानियां बहुत हैं, मेरी औलाद मेरी बात मानती नहीं, ये नहीं होता, वो नहीं होता, मेरे इतने प्रॉब्लम हैं, नुकसान हैं। क्यों? अगर हम अपनी जिंदगी में देखते हैं, क्या हम सुन्नत मुस्तफ़ा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम पर चलते हैं? क्या हम नमाज पाबंदी वक्त से हम नमाज अदा करते हैं? क्या हम जमात के साथ नमाज पढ़ते हैं? नबी अलैहिस्सलाम ने ये भी इरशाद फरमाया कि जो शख्स नमाज जमात में पढ़ता है उसके लिए 27 गुना ज्यादा सवाब होता है। 27 times more sawab for praying salah in the masjid with jamaat. وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Baqarah, and bow with those who bow. और उन लोगों के साथ रुकू करना जो रुकू करते हैं। राकिईन, रुकू करने वाले वो होते हैं जो नमाज जमात के साथ पढ़ते हैं। और इसी से नमाज जमात के साथ पढ़ना उसका वजूब भी साबित होता है, ये वाजिब है। नबी अलैहिस्सलाम ने इस बात की ताकीद में यह भी इरशाद फरमाया कि कोई आदमी तकबीर कहे, इकामत कहे, काश कोई आदमी इकामत कहे और मैं जाऊं और उन लोगों के घरों को मैं जलाऊं आग से जो लोग नमाज मस्जिद में नहीं पढ़ते। अल्लाहु अकबर। इसका मतलब नहीं कि वो करेंगे, लेकिन ये वईद थी। ये क्या थी? वईद थी, इबरत के लिए, दर्स इबरत के लिए। नबी अलैहिस्सलाम ने किसी को जलाया नहीं आग से, लेकिन ये इबरत दे रहे हैं, ये वाज दे रहे हैं हम मुसलमानों को कि हमें नमाज जमात के साथ पढ़नी है। The salah to pray in congregation brings you 27 times more reward than the salah you pray alone. This is hadith sharif of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then again, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that praying salah in Jumu'ah is so important that if I wished, I could make somebody pray the takbir, the iqamat, and then I will go around and burn the houses of those people who do not pray salah in Jumu'ah. And he is only saying this for warning. He never did burn anyone with fire, but look at the emphasis of what he did. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ. In Surah Ma'un, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and woe to those namazis who are forgetful of their prayer and who show off in their deeds and who prevent from giving good, who prevent from giving in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you see in the Quran, many occasions when salah is mentioned, also mentioned is charity. Mentioning amongst this also is to give in the way of Allah. And giving in the way of Allah is connected to the salah. Charity and salah, they go hand in hand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions many occasions in the Holy Quran to support goodness and to give in the way of Allah. And in this regard, as you know, the Sati are going around. There is a great, there's been a very big dust bill upon the masjid, and there is a guzarish from the Intizamiya that everyone try to contribute wholeheartedly towards the expense of the masjid in form of the gas bill. And the Satis are going around as usual, one for the masjid expenses and one for the gas bill as well. It is a guzarish to all the Satis to contribute wholeheartedly towards the expense of the masjid. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq to act upon what has been said, to try to take away some of these small words that I have said, but some of the advices contained from Quran Kareem and from the Hadith Sharif, and try to implement this in our daily lives. because the salah only takes a few minutes of our daily routine, and we must all turn to the salah. And one last thing I would like to finish with is the words of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in that on the day of judgment, the first thing that will be judged is the namaz. And if a person, his namaz is correct, he shall be successful on the day of judgment. But if he has defect in his namaz, he has kami in his namaz, then he shall be in loss and destruction on the day of judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all and give myself almost the ability to act upon what has been said. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ.